hindi mo kailangan ma-experience firsthand yung isang bagay para matuto ka. You can also learn from the experience of others.
Na-realize ko na not everyone is given the same opportunity. People have certain privileges and stuff. Well, I think I am in a position to help other people. My level of generosity should only go higher.
That was one of my realization na parang if hindi ko tutuloy mag-dentistry or hindi ako magde-dentistry, sino na lang yung tutulong sa kanila? Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 5th episode of DSC's podcast series, where we talk about different virtues every month, just like last month, where we had the different leaders from different groups in our college talk about leadership. My name is James Hilting, and I will be your host for today's podcast. We'll be talking about generosity. And we have two special guests for today who will give us their insights and probably even their experiences with our topic today. Start off, our first guest is right now in 4th year, or rather a 4th year proper. And she's our DSC 4th year batch representative and also ACES Assistant Secretary General, I'd like to call on none other than Nicole Abarro.
Hi, Kuya JM.
Hi, Nicole. So pretty as ever. Thank you very much for gracing us with your time. Kumusta naman?
Okay naman, Kuya JM. Namiss ka namin sa DSC. Ang tagal mong hindi na nag-host.
I've missed DS and I've missed actually being part of the DSC's program. And I'm thankful that I'm given a chance to actually, again, be part of such program, a great program. I've seen nga yung mga yung other podcasts from previous months. And I'm really happy to see that, we had Paul and Thea hosting those podcasts. So hopefully, sana bago matapos yung podcast series, probably the three of us can also have, a collaboration. Anyway, so we'll be talking to Nicole later on and again, get her insights on our topic for today. And our second guest is also a 4th year proper and our current DSC Public Relations Officer, none other than Miguel Basco. Hi, Migs.
Hi, Kuya. Hi, guys. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening sa inyo.
Ayan. So, guys, si Migs, if siguro familiar yung pangalan ni Migs sa inyo. For those who have not really seen Migs' face, he's actually the man who we usually call whenever there's a photo op in DSC's programs. So, yun. So, siya yung madalas naming tinatawag to get those photo ops. So, it's really good to see Migs' face. So just like we mentioned a while ago, guys, we'll just be talking about, again, generosity. So I'll be asking some questions and feel free to give your insights and even experiences so that our audience can actually relate to the topic that we have for today. And just wag na tayo patumpik-tumpik. That's a tongue twister. So let's get to our topic, generosity. What comes into your mind whenever you hear that word, generosity? Let's start off with Nicole.
I think one word that comes into mind is helping, I guess, or reaching out to other people. Why? I think sinearch ko nga Kuya JM yung definition ng generosity. It's like, it's helping others and also, ayun nga, reaching out.
How about you, Migs? Generosity. Straight out, what comes into your mind? The first thing that comes into your mind whenever you hear that word?
Ako, basically, generosity is about sharing. It is not necessarily material things. Kasi ang material things for me is superficial. For me, it is also sharing your experiences, advices, or mindset to other people.
So great that you actually mentioned that, no? That generosity, how we gauge, or rather how we quantify it, is for you, Migs, for you, is something not just of material things. Right? How about you, Nico? Do you feel the same way, or do you think of the same thing, that generosity hindi natin yan na-measure with the amount of material things or even probably monetary things that we give?
Absolutely, I agree with Migs. Kasi hindi lang naman material things ang mabibigay mo. You can also give time to other people. So intangible things like time, I guess love. So corny. Pero ayun, yung experiences din, like from me who's a clinician to my lower batchmates, I can also offer advice and I guess my experiences so that they can learn from my mistakes. So ayun, I guess I agree with what Mig said.
Good, no? Kasi
Oo.
good. Kasi alam mo, for some, if and well, I don't know if you have noticed this actually. Whenever there would be a person who would be sparing their time, who would be giving advice or whatnot, the definition rather, or the characteristic that would imply to them is kind, but never generous. But if there would be someone who would be giving out, like they say, donating 1 million pesos or whatever, giving out a present, uy, ang generous naman niya, diba? But it's nice to know that um for on your point of views, generosity is not just all about, again, materials. And I hope that our audience would also agree on that generosity is not measured rather with material things or monetary. Just giving time, sabi nga kanina ni Nicole, giving out your time. I mean, time is precious. Time is gold nga, di ba sabi nila? So just imagine if you're giving out time. So basically, that's something precious, and you're giving out something precious. You're sharing something precious, right? And you mentioned a while ago that since you are already fourth year students, fourth year proper, one of the things that you actually give out or you share to the lower batches is not just your time, but rather advices, lessons learned from clinics, probably, or experiences in general. Is there any particular instance that really sticks in your head or sticks in your mind that you were able to say that I was generous on this one, like kasi talagang nakatulong ako, or rather I was able to give, just the idea of give. Let's start naman with Mix today. With that rather.
Um, Ako siguro yung pinakamalaking contribution ko, not only to my org but also to other people, siguro yung pag-lend ko ng notes ko. Kasi me and my friends, kami kasi yung magkakaibigan na nagtutulungan talaga sa taking notes. Kasi ngayong proper kasi, syempre may clinics ka na eh. Divide na yung time mo. So, ang ginawa namin, hinati-hati namin yung mga subjects dun sa group namin, and then kung ano yung magawa namin, yun yung sinishare namin sa isa't isa. And then, ako personally, yung mga gawa kong notes, sinishare ko siya sa orgs, sa orgmates, and then also to, syempre, kahit sa ibang org, yung mga friends ko, sinishare ko din sa kanila. Pero, ang pinakang ina-advise ko, wag nilang gawin na yun lang yung aaralin nila. Kasi pwede nilang gamitin lang in a reference. Kasi personally, ako, mas natututo ko if gawa ko yung binabasa ko. So, siguro, yung pagiging generous sa pamimigay, may kasama dapat na advice. Hindi lang basta nagbigay ka, generous ka na, hanggang dun lang. For me, dapat meron ka ring advice na ibigay sa kanila beside dun sa pagiging generous mo.
Okay, we'll take note of that idea, Mixa. I just want to hear first about Nicole's experiences regarding how, being fourth years, how she was able to present, or rather, how she was able to be generous, in a sense, to the lower batches. But you have made a good point there, and we'll get back to that. Nicole, how about you?
Ako na ba?
Yes, Nicole.
Okay. Fourth year experience, I think one thing, yun nga, parehas kami ni Migs na nagbibigay ng notes. Pero sige, ibahin ko naman para hindi naman notes. kasi sa ACE may ninang inaanak during PPR. So basically, that's like, it's a buddy system. So like, yung mga bagong applicants, you get to know them and then you guide them. Ganun. So with my inaanak, I was generous with time, I guess. I gave her my time, and also, bukod sa notes, I guess advice about life in dentistry and how it's going to be hard, but also satisfying to reach your goals and overcome certain obstacles in that. Because we all know that in dentistry, it's really hard to like study and also motivate yourself. It's hard to motivate yourself to keep on studying. Kasi sa una, di ba, it parang masaya. Like, nung pre-dent, masaya ka pa, ganun. Parang onti pa lang yung like responsibilities mo, onti pa lang yung inaaral mo. Pero pagdating ng proper, it's a big change. Parang ma-culture shock ka. Kasi nung pre-dent, parang easy-easy ka lang, ganun. Pero pagdating ng proper, it's a time na dapat magseryoso ka na. So, ayun, I give them, yung inaanak ko, binibigyan ko ng advice, binibigyan ko ng notes, tapos binibigyan ko din, like yung experience ko, kung anong naranasan ko nung first year. Para hindi niya na ma-encounter yun, di ba? Kasi ayaw naman natin magkamali sila and like mapagalitan. Yun yung iniiwasan natin. Kasi na-experience na natin yun na pinapagalitan and stuff. So, I guess, para sa kanila din, nawala na yung ayaw ko.
No, we perfectly get the idea. I mean, again, we're trying to go overboard, or rather, do more than just with the lectures. And actually, yung gusto kong tanong kanina, parang nagbigay ka na eh. May lecture ka na. May notes ka nang binigay. Di ba sabi mo, Nicole, di ba? Initially, that was your idea, right? Pero why is it that you have to go the extra mile of also giving advice to this person? Basically, this person, I mean, you sometimes need to give them parang, or they have to go through their own journey. Pero bakit both of you feel that it is a responsibility as well to give advice to them?
For me, kasi dentistry is not all about lecture. So I think notes aren't enough. You have to go over the practical stuff. So there are like techniques to make it easier, diba? So like giving them that, it makes them better. So kung anong mali ko, matatama niya na, diba? So he or she doesn't have to experience the mistake. And if magkakamali man siya, he or she can learn from that mistake, diba?
About you, Migs? Bakit parang kailangan it was necessary for you to add advice, or rather give advice as well? Parang notes was already enough. I mean, nakatulong ka na nun, di ba?
Ako kasi marami akong wisdom na nakuha sa mga professors natin sa UE. Isa sa mga wisdom na yun, hindi mo kailangan ma-experience firsthand yung isang bagay para matuto ka. You can also learn from the experience of others. Yung pinaka-natatandaan ko na example niya, yung isang tao na nabangga, di ba? Kailangan mo bang ma-experience firsthand na mabangga ka bago mo matutunan na, ay, masakit pala yun. So, ganoon din dito sa profession or sa course natin. Yung mga na-experience mo na, i-share mo sa iba para matuto sila, di ba? Para maiwasan nila pag sila na yung nasa posisyon mo or nasa katulad nung experience na-experience mo.
Ako first hand, I mean, I also agree with you guys talaga. And an experience of mine as well. Actually, pinaka common ground natin notes no. Parang notes really parang helps us, I mean, in dentistry. I mean, yes, sabi nga ni Mix, we should be making our own notes, or rather, when we get our notes, parang dapat intindihin yun, or rather, i-retype mo or on how you've understood the lecture din. Parang sasabay mo siya kasi reference lang siya eh. And yun nga yung isa sa mga hugot ko actually. Parang bakit sa klase kasi namin, parang there would be people who's really great in taking notes. Pero why is it that they keep it to themselves? I mean, sabi niyo nga, di ba, in dentistry, it's hard and it would be nice if everyone would actually be helping out each other. Pero what what do you feel about, or what is your insight rather about those classmates? Sabihin natin classmates or people na they're really great in making notes, right? In compiling notes. Pero whenever you would be asking, probably a favor of hihiramin yung notes, parang ayaw nila. What do you feel about that? Have you ever experienced that? May ganun ba kayo naging classmate in one of your classes na parang medyo naka-miss out ka kasi, or I don't know, probably may ginawa ka, you went out, sa CR gano'n, may na-miss out kang detail. And since this classmate of yours is really detailed whenever taking notes, nung i-approach mo siya, sabi, kung pwede mong mahiram yung notes niya, parang nagdalawang isip siya and I said, no, akin lang yung notes kaya hindi mo maintindihan. Have you ever experienced that?
Ako siguro, hindi ko pa na-experience na mapagdamutan ng notes kasi ako mismo yung yung gumagawa. So pag may mga ganyang circumstances na may namimiss akong detail, nag-a-ask naman ako in a good way na hindi ko hiramin yung buong notes kasi parang i-explain ko na gumagawa ko ng sarili kong notes. Baka pwedeng makita ko yung ganitong part kasi may na-miss ko nga, ganun. So yung pagbibigay ng notes sa ibang tao, yung mga taong ayaw magbigay ng notes, siguro ang ma-advise ko lang or ang opinion ko about that, they have the right naman. Kasi personally, sobrang hirap gumawa ng notes. Ako kasi ang ginagawa ko syempre, ngayong araw, so magle-lecture. So during face-to-face classes, may written notes ako, and then pag uwi ko, i-retype ko siya, and then kukuha ako ng sources from other books. Meron naman kasing binibigay yung mga prof na mga references na pwede mong pagkunan eh. So, ganun ang ginagawa ko. Tinatype ko, kukuha ko ng sources from book, mga pictures, ganun. So, parang para sa akin, it's a bit mahirap. So, maintindihan ko yung mga taong ayaw nilang i-share yung notes nila.
Thanks, Migs. Nicole, ikaw, have you ever experienced na mapagdamutan ng notes? Bilang ikaw ay nagpapahiram ng notes, ikaw ba ay napagdamutan na ng notes?
For me, hindi ko pa na-experience na pagdamutan ng notes. Kasi ako, namimigay ako ng notes. Kasi I wanna help people. Kasi I wanna help people in every way that I can. Kasi alam ko naman yung feeling na hindi matulungan or like helpless in a certain extent. So like, ako, bibigay ko yung notes. Ayoko nagdadamot ng anything. Kung na-experience ko na may magdamot sa akin sa notes, wala. Kasi hindi ako nanghihingi ng notes eh. Hindi ako nanghihingi ng notes. Kasi I take notes a lot. Hindi rin ako lumalabas ng classroom tuwing lecture. So, nakukuha ko lahat ng notes. So, ayun. Hindi ako makarelate sa pagdadamot.
That's nice. That's nice, guys.
Sorry, Kuya Jim.
No,
they always ask me for notes. I always want to help people in that aspect. Kasi I know how it feels like to be helpless. So, and also, I don't like being dependent on other people in any situation. Kahit sa notes, yun. I make sure na I can stand on my own. So, ayun.
So, I think si Mix kanina na sabi niya, he actually understands where those note takers, like the two of you are coming from, kung bakit nagdadamot yung iba. I think it's because sabi mo nga parang it's the hardship that you actually put into in compiling the notes. Like, kasi when you take notes, hindi lang naman just for one subject eh. Like, imposible naman isang subject ka lang isang araw. No? Hello, dentistry. We actually have a lot of subjects per day and you have to compile them. And sabi nga ni Mix kanina, it's hard compiling them. So, is it safe to say na hindi ka nagdadamot just because ayaw mo? Or for those na hindi nagbibigay ng notes, is it safe to say na the reason why some probably won't share their notes is because pinaghirapan nila, or do you think they don't want na maungusan sila? Do you understand where I'm getting at?
Kasi ako personally, yung mga friends ko, yung reason nila kung bakit hindi sila nag-share ng notes, it's because they wanted others to step up. Kasi, yun nga, katulad ng sabi ko kanina, kaming magkakaibigan, for us, mas matututo ka if gawa mo yung notes. Tsaka, tayo kasi iba-iba tayo ng learning styles. Kung halimbawa ako, yung notes, ako kasi, personally, oral kasi ako eh. And then, kinesthetic learner. So, yung notes ko is parang customized for ganong learner na I put experiences, yung mga sinasabi ng mga prof na experience nila. I sometimes put it to my notes kasi yun yung way kung paano ko matatandaan yung topic. So, imagine na ibigay mo yung notes mo for a visual learner. So, 'di ba? Parang hindi naman magiging waste, pero hindi siya magiging ganun ka-effective. Kaya I also encourage my friends na humihingi ng notes na gawin lang nilang reference yun. Mas okay talaga na gumawa ka ng sarili mong notes kasi iba-iba nga tayo ng learning style.
Ako for me, dumaan din ako sa phase na ayaw ko mamigay ng notes. Like siguro nung start nung proper. Kasi pinaghirapan ko yung notes eh. So I tend to just share it with my friends or like within the org. Kasi pinaghirapan ko yun. Kasi ako, Quezon City pa ako. So umuwian pa ako. So that takes an hour. Kasi, di ba, kuha lecture, tapos magsusulat ka. Minsan mabilis magsalita yung prof. Tapos, kailangan mabilis ka rin magsulat. So, like, masakit yung kamay mo, tapos uuwi ka. Tapos ako kasi, I commute from school to home. Tapos, that takes like 1 hour, 30 minutes, depende pa sa traffic. So, siguro na ako ng 9. So, I have to type that pa and stuff. Tapos, anong oras na ako makatulog? The next day, I have to wake up like 6 a.m., 5 a.m. So, like, that time, I guess the effort and time to like take notes is something that I value. Just to give it away to someone I don't know. I think that's why nagdadamot sila. I understand naman where it's coming from. Kasi there are people who are going to depend on you. And I don't want people to do that. Because in dentistry, you have to be independent. Like, sooner or later, you have to be independent. Hindi lang sa notes, pero also, pag naging clinician ka na. So, yung notes, parang yan yung stepping stone mo into becoming a responsible person. Kasi you're responsible enough to take notes and like to be responsible of yourself, to study and stuff like that. So, I understand where they're coming from. Pero at the same time, in dentistry, you really should help each other. Pero not to the point na that person will be dependent on you.
I like it that you actually both made a good point. Kasi supposedly that was a follow-up question of mine. How do you actually identify people that you need to help, people that you need to show generosity? And I think you were able to perfectly state that those people who does not try to be who does not try to depend on themselves, I think yun yung nagdo-draw ng line of the generosity that you are giving. Kasi kanina, di ba, parang sabi nyo, if they would just be relying on your notes every time and they're not even giving an effort of making their own notes, di ba, parang iba naman na yun. It's nice to know that we actually have a limitation when it comes to being generous. Not because hindi ka nagbigay, hindi ka na generous. You're generous in a sense that you're able to actually identify who you should be helping out. So yung mga tao na parang nagtitake advantage na, at magpapaka-take advantage ka, I think hindi ka na generous nun. Parang pangit naman na yon. Now, in your situation, 4th years, di ba? 4th years. Both of you are doing clinics, right? If I'm not mistaken. Tama ba?
Yes.
Tama. Okay. So, before the pandemic had happened, face-to-face clinics, di ba? So, were there any striking or rather very memorable clinic events na experience nyo wherein someone was actually generous to you guys? You know, 'di ba, if I'm not mistaken sa clinics, 'di ba, hindi lang naman lagi na magkakaklase kayong nandun. There would be other people who would be there, other clinicians. Have you ever experienced generosity? Naman kasi kanina pa tayo nag-uusap na kayo yung being generous, 'di ba? How about you experience generosity? And let's try to explore naman yung clinics experience nyo. Migs, start tayo with Migs.
Yung experience ko sobrang recently lang. Kasi yung mga cases na na-open mo during face-to-face na hindi mo natapos nung suspend na ng classes, binigyan kasi kami ng chance na ituloy siya ngayong online clinics. And then, we are advised by the prosthodontic section na may mga prof lang kami na dapat pag-workan. And then, yung natapat na lag sa akin kasi is Wednesday, which is walang available na prof. And then, wala na akong ibang gagawin sa Prosto for Clinic 3. So, ang ginawa ko, naghanap ako ng ka-section ko na pwede kong pagpalitan nung log ko. Kasi sa clinical section, halo-halo na eh. Kahit hindi mo kakilala, classmate mo or ka-section mo. So, nag-approach ako ng isang tao na, yun nga, sinabi ko yung case ko. And then, anong tawag doon? Walang hesitation. Umuo agad siya. Which is parang, so para sa akin, hindi ko siya kakilala. Wala akong nabigay sa kanya. And yet, naging generous siya sa akin. Ayun, kaya parang para sa akin talaga, kapag naging generous ka sa ibang tao, babalik talaga sa yun without knowing it.
Parang what they call this, the rule of karma. What you give out in the world would actually be given to you sometimes threefold pa. How about you, Nicole? Any experiences or experience rather in the clinics, either face-to-face or now that it's online clinics, that you felt or rather you were actually able to experience generosity?
Jem, face-to-face naman babanggitin ko since online na yung mention ni Nick. So, during face-to-face, syempre kabado ka, di ba? Kasi like first time mo mag-clinics, ganyan, and you don't know what to expect. And there's also like terror stories na pag nagkamali ka, sisigawan ka, ganun. Like in the clinics, which is, a learning experience. But for me, nung sumali ako ng DSC, na-feel ko talaga yung generosity coming from higher batches. One that I want to mention and also give my appreciation to is Kuya Brian. Kasi nung sumali ako ng DSC, lagi ko siyang napapagtanungan. Like, kung wari nung first case ko nung endo, lagi ko siyang pinagtatanungan na tama ba tong diagnosis ko, ganito, tama ba yung sasabihin ko, tama ba tong discussion, ganyan, tama ba tong kung ano man, basta related sa endo discussion, ganyan. So, lagi ko siyang napapagtanungan. Tapos, hindi lang yun, when it comes to materials, like, kung wari may naiwan ako or like, wala akong instrument na to, I can just go inside the DSC office and then, kung sino man nandun, I can say, Kuya, ate, may ganito ka ba? Pwede pahinging ganito, ganyan. And also, ayun nga, pag may nakalimutan ako na bagay, in reference, pag nagtatanong yung mga CS, I can I can go inside the DSC office and ask, ate, ganito yung tinanong, ano yung sagot niya? So, ayun, natutulungan nila ako. So, I really love DSC. And also, the people. Pag sumali ka ng DSC, hindi lang silang makatulong sa'yo, pero at the same time, makatulong ka rin ng ibang tao. So, ayun. Tapos, ayun din, bukod sa endo, syempre lahat tayo takot magbunot, di ba? May requirement sa OS, subject rec. So, parang hindi mo alam kung anong gagawin mo pagdating mo doon. Like, kung tama ba yung ginagawa mo or something. So, pumasok ako. Before pa nun, syempre, you need to find the diagnosis, bakit mo kailangan bunutin, ganyan. Basta, you need to discuss to the CS why you're doing this procedure and, to justify everything. So, like, ang pinagtanungan ko at that time, si Kuya Ebu. Si Kuya Louie Ebuen. So, higher year yun. So, like, ayun, tinulungan niya ako, binigyan niya ako ng patient, ganun. Tapos nung magbubunot na ako, ayun, si Kuya Bryle ulit, siya yung intern nun. Hindi ko alam kung tama yung ginagawa ko. Sabi ko, Kuya Bryle, tulungan mo naman ako dito, ganyan, ganyan. So, ayun, nabunot ko naman. Parang nawala na ako sa answer.
No, you're
Lanz,
actually perfect kasi para we're just discussing on again you experiencing generosity, and I think you were able to cover like really great parts on clinics, lalo na sa face to face, because you're not just able to you're not able to just experience generosity with materials that you actually need. You were actually also able to get generosity with learning your case and even really performing the case. And I think that's what's really good about forming connections or network of resources, rather, if I should say, with the different organizations that we are part of, di ba? So, you mentioned kanina, Nicole, it's a combination of, again, the organization that she is with right now, and as well with DSC, and as well with Migs, with his experience naman. Ito, random person talaga. Which is, sometimes, yun yung parang for me, those are magical moments kasi parang hindi mo siya kilala. Wala kayong connection other than dentistry probably, and you being in that same room. Random person, no hesitation at all, nakipag-switch ng logs. So, with now, guys, if I'm not mistaken, there is a situation where in clinics 4, those clinicians on their clinics 4 have more logs than the others. Diba? What do you feel about this? And what do you think why the administration, or rather our college has decided on that kind of ratio?
Siguro for me, dito pumapasok yung equality versus equity. Kasi kapag Clinic 4 ka kasi, meron kang mga exams or test na pagdadaanan before ka makagraduate. Ang alam ko, dapat makapasa ka ng quali and then bago ka makapag-pre-boards. And then yung quali and pre-boards na, yung quali, iti-take mo siya, ang alam ko mag-start na ngayong March eh. Hindi ko lang alam yung exact date. Pero isang qualification bago ka makapag-take ng quali, you need to close Clinic 4 or dapat malapit mo nang ma-close yung Clinic 4 bago ka makapag-take ng quali. So, given that situation, siguro yung mga Clinic 4 na nakakakuha ng mas maraming logs as compared to regular or yung Clinic 3 pababa, siguro for me, fair yun. Kasi meron silang pagdadaanan pa na kailangan nilang maka-accomplish muna ng maraming or matapos yung points bago nila matake yung exams na yun. So for me, it's fair.
Thank you, Mix. How about you, Nicole?
My initial thought when I first heard that, I was kind of sad, but also at the same time, I understood why they were doing that. Kasi Clinic 4 has much more requirements compared sa Clinic 3, and also they're graduating. So parang kinakailangan talaga nila i-close lahat from like Clinic 1 to Clinic 4. So I understand why the administration chose to do that in regards to the logging by giving the Clinic 4 more logs in comparison to the lower years. So, ayun, I understand.
So yeah, I totally agree with you guys because for me, when I heard that first of all, when I heard that online clinics has already commenced, ang unang-unang pumasok sa isip ko why online clinics actually happened is not well, of course everyone would need to go through clinics, di ba? I mean, once you are already in third year, actually second, tuto, di ba? Tuto magki-clinics ka na kasi may patient ka dun eh. Pero I think the clinics was really intended for me, again, this is my point of view, was really intended to be initiated or to commence for the fourth year or for our seniors who are graduating kasi um I kind of if I were in their position and clinics na lang yung kailangan ko to actually graduate, it kind of makes me sad that I cannot graduate just because clinic is not happening. So I totally, yeah, kasi sabi ko, I totally I was totally okay with the idea that online clinics happened. And again, this is for fourth years for them again to already settle their cases, already settle their points so that they can already graduate. But kasi yung mga ano naman, like yung mga third year or incoming fourth year naman, as far as I'm hearing as well on both sides, like both sides meaning seniors and even incoming. Now for the incoming clinicians kasi and probably um clinicians na talaga, like the incoming fourth year naman or yung mga fourth years natin ngayon, not really graduating na yung mga from last year but really fourth year ngayon. UE kasi is parang still holding on to that hope that there would be face to face naman, and that's where we can actually take advantage more of the experience that we're having now with face to face. Unlike yung mga seniors natin, yung mga graduating natin, they have already experienced face-to-face management of patients or having really patients in face-to-face. But again, due to the situation, hindi nila magawa yun. Or again, we actually had the situation na nag-stop nga yung clinics nun. So for with this kind of action that has been taken by our college, it's really favorable for them. It's not. I'm not. When I say that it's favorable to them, it doesn't mean that's unfavorable for the other clinicians. It's just that that kumbaga yan, if we are going back to the thought of generosity, it is our time naman. It is we're trying to be generous as the mga lower batches. We're trying to be generous this time to them na hindi nakikipag-hoard or nakikipag-agawan sa mga logs na yun because it is already intended for them. This kumbaga we give that chance to them para na makagraduate na nga sila. It's a way for us to give back to the things that they have given us. So if that is the case, do you think that generosity, we should only just show this while we are students, while we are dentistry students, or while we are still in dentistry? Because you mentioned a while ago kanina, dentistry is hard and we actually need to help out each other, di ba? Katulad dun sa clinics and notes and whatnot. Pabalik-balik tayo sa notes, no? Very essential talaga yung notes na yan. But do you think that once you're done with dentistry, once you have graduated technically, do you think that there should be a limit now or your level of generosity should change?
For me, I was raised in an environment na I was given everything that I wanted. So, medyo spoiled brat ako. So, like, nung lumabas na ako, like, from the sheltered life, na-realize ko na not everyone is given the same opportunity. So, ayun nga, people have certain privileges and stuff. So, like, as a person na I am in a position to help other people, I think my level of generosity should only go higher. Kasi I've seen people na aren't given the same circumstances as me. So, I feel na may obligation ako to help other people in every aspect. An example na made me realize this more my principle in life. When ma'am tatad, kasi siya, nagkukwento siya, like, no, nung nag-graduate siya, ganyan, parang ang kwento niya sa amin, kaya daw siya nag-dent. Like, yung purpose niya is to help other people. So, dapat parang kami, if you're just in it for the money, might as well just quit. Hindi yan yung verbatim, pero parang yun yung gist, yung ganyan yung pagkakaintindi ko. Kasi, if you're going into a course like medically related, you should do it to help other people. Kasi nga, tayo, we're concerned with patients and their well-being and yung health nila. So, being doctors and in this field, I guess we should really take care of our patients. Kasi nga, it's their life on the line. We should really take care of them and be generous in every aspect.
Thank you, Nicole, for sharing that insight. So let's go to Mix naman. How about you, Mix?
Ako, for me naman, ang pinangahawakan ko kasi during our Procman, it has been said that dentistry is a profession and a small business. So from doon, parang na-realize ko na hindi naman necessary na sinabi mong business, peperahan mo na yung mga tao. So, pwede ka naman mag-render ng treatment, i-adjust mo yung treatment depending on the person while earning. So, di ba, parang hindi naman necessary na peperahan mo sila. You can have discounts, pero yung lahat ng tao magiging free, parang hindi na siguro yun magiging practical. Kasi syempre, nag-invest ka gamit, time, effort, pag-aaral. So, siguro hindi ganun ka-practical if lahat ng tao makaka-receive ng free services. So, siguro, as a future dentist, pwede mo silang bigyan ng discount if hindi talaga nila kaya yung treatment and i-customize mo for a person depending on their capabilities na magbayad.
Thank you. Just to share with you guys, since we are on that particular aspect of this discussion, alam nyo ba na one of the things that actually made me parang decide to take up dentistry is something related to that, what you have shared, which is, again, it revolves around generosity. Kasi before dentistry, I was already working. Kung ano yung trabaho ko, labas na tayo doon, basta. Legal yung trabaho ko. No, I was working in the BPO for 10 years. So, but one of the things that really made me decide to go with dentistry since matagal na akong kinukulit din ng nanay ko, because my mom, my sister, my dad, they're all dentists. Ako lang yung medyo nalihis ng landas. Yan. There was a moment when we took a vacation. If I'm not mistaken, this is going to Aurora, sa Baler, parang ganun. So when we were on our way, parang we got to a place wherein it was almost remote in a sense, kasi parang bukid na talaga siya, like vast fields of kabukiran. Parang yung kapitbahay mo, yung sobrang layo ng mga magkakapitbahay na sila. Yung next na kapitbahay mo is almost one station away, parang ganun, kung ikukumpara natin sa LRT, MRT, parang ganun kalayo. And I remember my mom saying na, ito pala yung barangay ganito, or ito pala yung sitio ganito. Marami tayong pasyente na nagagaling dito. And yung mga pasyente natin yun, sila yung mga pasyente na hindi makabayad or walang pera na pambayad sa mga services or sa mga treatments na they're taking or they get from us. Pero ang mga binabayad nila kasi, sila na yung nahihiya, ang nagbinabayad nila livestocks or kaya mga produce nila. So that was one of my realization na parang if hindi ko tutuloy mag-dentistry or hindi ako magde-dentistry, sino na lang yung tutulong sa kanila? So I like it that, sabi nga kanina ni Mix, dentistry is more of a profession and a business. doon pa rin pumapasok yung pagiging doktor natin. Sabi nga ni Nicole, we chose to be professionals first. We must always choose to be doctors first in treating our patients before we think of the monetary side of it. Diba? Kung hindi talaga kaya, and I think we can actually assess naman kung kaya o hindi ng pasyente. And natawa nga ako nung one time, ito lang, recently lang, sa isa sa mga lectures namin with Ma'am Godoy, because she was talking about expenses or kung paano nga mag-charge sa mga patient. Kung hihingi ka lang din ng discount for a 300 peso 300 peso treatment, bibigay ko na lang sa iyo ng libre. Parang sabi niya ganon. Hindi siya nagmamayabang si ma'am, pero kumbaga parang for probably kung ako yon, I would also parang I would also do the same. Parang if you are telling me that you can't actually afford the 300 peso treatment, then might as well bigay ko na nga lang sa iyo ng libre. Pero ibang usapan naman ako halimbawa maxillofacial surgery ganyan. Alam ko naman ang estado mo sa buhay. So I think it's only fair that kung ano man yung pinaghirapan natin as studentista should also be parang rewarded in a sense. Anything else that you would like to add, guys, on that situation? I mean, again, being graduates or being a bona fide dentists na.
Ako kuya, I will add something. Kasi since yung topic nga natin is generosity, isa sa plans ko when I have a stable job na is to conduct dental missions, syempre dun sa mga sa province na nangangailangan talaga yung hindi talaga afford na magkameron ng mamahaling treatment. Yung ganong mga bagay kasi it's a way of giving back na from the blessings that you have received. So ayun, maganda rin siguro na may mga plans kang gano'n na to render services for fee, pero ayun nga, as I have said, hindi naman siya pwede na araw-araw libre. So siguro yung mga ganun, mag-conduct ka ng mga projects, coordinate with barangays, ganun. Siguro yun yung pinakang way of giving back mo na.
Not bad. How about you, Nicole? Anything else that you would like to add?
I agree with Migs. Pero for me, wala pa akong plans after graduating kasi ang dami uncertainties.
One step at a time tayo, di ba?
Yes.
Wala namang masama dun eh. Wala namang masama if at this point we just really want to focus of what's happening right now and probably what is gonna happen for tomorrow. Pero like 3 years from now, 5 years from now, I totally understand. Who knew that we would even have pandemic di ba? So, one step at a time tayo. Okay, so since we are nearing to the closing of our episode for today, I just have probably 3 last questions for you guys. And one of it would be, parang ano lang to yung mamimili ka. Parang jojowain to tropahin. Pero in this case, that the question is, since we mentioned about generosity in different ways, you giving and you receiving, you experience both. So for you, what do you prefer more when it comes to generosity? You giving or you receiving?
Siguro maganda yung meron ka both. Pero yung opinion ko is that yung generosity is, ang root niya talaga is giving. Kasi imagine, lahat tayo willing magbigay without expecting in return. So, lahat na tayo nag-give, lahat pa tayo nakaka-receive, di ba?
Nice. How about you, Nicole?
For me, in my opinion, I am towards more to giving. Like, I don't like receiving anything. Because as I mentioned a while ago, I'm a very independent person and I don't like depending on others. So, ayun, I just really like to help people in every way that I can. Kasi alam ko na lahat tayo nahihirapan and lahat tayo nangangailangan ng help. And I want to relieve them of their struggles in life. Kasi alam ko, naranasan ko rin yung mahirapan in terms of, I guess, in dentistry, like nahihirapan ako ganyan. Pero, ayun, in every way that I can, I want to help other people.
I totally feel the same way, guys. So between receiving generosity and giving out, or being generous by giving out something, I'd rather choose giving out or sharing what I have. Kasi parang uh I don't know. Yes, it's nice na maka-receive ng gifts or maka-receive ng whatever. It's nice. It's a really nice feeling. But between the feeling that between that feeling and you giving, the feeling of you giving, parang mas mas fulfilling siya. Kasi again, it's a way for you to sabi nga ni Nicole kanina, it's a way for you to help with the person's situation, parang maibsan yung struggles nila or malesen yung struggle nila. And I think that's a really that's really a good thing. So last question, guys, kasi technically parang nasagot yung isa sa mga three questions ko eh. So ito na lang, not actually a question but more of parting words for our listeners out there regarding again our topic of generosity. What would be, an advice or rather things that you can share to them regarding why people or why all of us um, should be generous to each other. Dentistry, either within dentistry or outside the dentistry world.
So, ayun, for me, being generous talaga is parang karma. Kapag nagbigay ka, uh, may babalik sa'yo. Kasi, um, don't get me wrong na nag-aantay ako ng kapalit, pero for me, kapag may binigay ka, kahit hindi nila ma-appreciate yun, may babalik sa'yo without knowing it. Hindi mo alam, baka mamaya, bukas, or sa isang araw, pero meron yan. Ang advice ko dun sa mga tao na hindi na-appreciate yung kindness nila, siguro hindi man ma-appreciate ng mga tao yung actions mo, pero I know that God can really appreciate it. Yung laging sinasabi ng parents ko, sasabihin nila, okay lang yan kahit hindi nila mapansin. Basta alam ni Lord, sabi nilang ganyan. So yun yung pinakang gusto kong i-advise sa mga tao na hindi na-appreciate yung actions nila.
Thank you, Migs. And we move to Nicole.
My advice to people, I guess, just to keep on giving. Kasi, yung sabi nga ni Migs, babalik at babalik sa'yo kung anong binigay mo out in the world. For in general, I just want to tell people na just to keep on giving. Kasi in this world, mas lalo na ngayong pandemic, it's really hard to get by. And I guess every little action can really help, other people. So just, keep on giving. Just hanggang sa may mabibigay ka, ibigay mo. Pero magtira ka rin para sa sarili mo. And then, for inside dentistry, for, I guess, for everyone inside, UE, basta mga dentistry students, I guess, ayun, also, keep on giving. Kasi, hindi mo rin alam kung anong pinagdadaanan ng ibang tao, nahihirapan sila. And, I guess lahat naman tayo na-experience natin na nahihirapan. Sana magtulungan na lang tayo in that aspect so that we can get through this together. And then, for outside dentistry, yun, nasabi ko ni.
Okay lang yan. Thanks, Nick. Thank you, Nicole. So, I think some of the takeaways that I have with our discussion is first things first, generosity is really about sharing. And when we say sharing, when we say giving, it's not about monetary lang naman. There are other non-material things that we can actually contribute or we can share and can already be considered as a form of generosity. And second of all, when we say that when we are generous or a person is generous, it doesn't mean that they cannot be that they're always expected to give. There are times wherein, as we mentioned a while ago, there will be times that we actually need to stop ourselves in giving so that we can actually help others grow Di ba? Katulad yung kanina, parang if they are already trying to be dependent na on us, I think that's already the time that we can somewhat limit ourselves in giving out. And last takeaway would be definitely giving is better than receiving. It is a gas-gas statement na, a gas-gas phrase. But um, just imagine if people in the entire world would just really give, you know, then parang ano siya, parang infinite siya. Like one person would give, other person would give, then another person would give, then but definitely one way or another, you would be receiving the same kindness probably, or the same kind of generosity that you have given. Pero if we would stop that, then that's it. Paano pa babalik, diba? So I hope that everyone would actually, continue being generous in their own ways. Kung hindi man, kung again, sabi natin, may certain limits tayo. We can't give what we don't have, sabi nga din nila. So whatever it is that you can give, whatever it is that you can be generous of, please, 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 let's all do that. Kasi we are in this pandemic, rather, we're in this difficult time, and definitely helping out each other would be would mean a lot for everyone. Right. So I thank you very much, Nicole and Migs, for again being our special guest for today's DSC's podcast series, again regarding generosity. And for our listeners there, thank you very much for being with us for today. And thank you very much to our listeners who joined us on today's DSC podcast series. Definitely, there would be other podcast series happening on the next couple of months. So I do hope that you would still join us on those series or in those episodes. So again, my name is JM, together again with our guests, Nicole and Migs. Wishing you all peace, happiness, and love, guys. Thank you.